Alright, so last session you engaged in a particular kind of negotiation and one that was successful to a slight degree. That remains to be seen overall. However, the talk at the very least that you engaged in uh, ended up in the woman you met with leaving, but providing and promise of names of people that they could send your way. However, the trade-off being is there could be no uh, overall persecution for them. Understanding that that is not going to be an easy task to relay. Uh, Captain Phillips, you are actually in the final stages of leaving Earth space dock. The one of the smaller Intrepid class ships that you do have access to has brought you back. It's been a lengthy journey. It hasn't been a short one. It's been about 3 weeks. Even at high
It's been a
warp.
it's been a mess.
Yeah, there's been a lot of prep. There's reading dossiers on the particular admiralty that you're about to make an appeal to. Even if you are not directly associated or even have met the man personally or even by semi-extension, Fleet Admiral Jellicoe is clearly someone that everyone in Starfleet knows, and depending on your generation in Starfleet, is either somewhat respected or very much loathed. However, docking, or rather leaving Earth space dock and the ensign piloting the shuttle, going to the Starfleet Command landing area. It's going to take you about 6 minutes. As she's tapping across the controls, taking note of the number of pips and knowing that she is carrying someone that is slightly high value, rather than keeping an awkward silence, prefers clearly the uh, comfort of conversation instead. Um, what are you back for, Captain? If I can ask, if I can't, that's fine. But I
You can
guess
you can ask.
I suppose I guess what I really want to know is how is Horizon Station out at the edge of the Alpha Quadrant?
It's home. It's doing all right.
Well, I mean, you're kind of self-sustaining and self-operating out there, at least from what I've read and everything.
Yeah, we had our fair share of adventures. It's not like DS9, mind you.
I hmm.
We don't have a wormhole that we can just go into anytime we want to. But we do have a fair share of adventures.
Well, hopefully in a couple years I can transfer to a ship and not be locked into Starbase 1. I'd like to not be in Starbase 1.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Starbase One puts you closer to home, so anytime you feel like you want to just go home, you can go home.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the most of us can't. People at Verizon Station, my senior staff, they can't go home, so we make do with what we got. Most people should be grateful for a chance to be able to go home whenever they can.
I suppose that's true.
Because I am. I'm happy being able to go home when I can.
Yeah, well,
Oh, whenever you can. If I was you, I'll be happy about it.
that's an interesting perspective. Oh, we'll be landing at Starfleet Central Command in 30 seconds.
Thank you for the heads up. I appreciate it.
Must be something important if you're at Central Command.
Yeah, it is.
The shuttle lands, and uh, there is a quartet of security officers that are already ready and waiting as they, with their black and gold uniforms, approach. And Captain,
Let's say my escort is here.
yeah, I think I'm a little, if you'll pardon the out of date phrase, definitely you don't get paid enough to know about that. So good luck.
Thanks. So he will grab his dossiers, his data pads, and he will make towards the exit of the transport.
Yep. Uh, as the security uh, squad guides you through, there is it eventually leads you actually not to any sort of uh, open hallways or anything. A lot of the hallways kind of jut off into like sub corridors. It's still all part of the same building, but you're guessing this is more for people of more official status just to move through without being bothered by more public space. Moving through the security of. You've seen this room before. It's one of a couple dozen VIP um, meeting tables or diplomacy suites. We're not allowed inside, Captain.
Mm. Is he in there waiting for me?
They're all in there waiting for you.
Captain, me, I would take a. I'm taking a slight calming breath to calm myself down. No one in the center. I'll be in front of the Admiralty, which includes Jericho, who's Jericho, and I ring the bell.
Okay. Um, Give me 1 second here while I bring something up. Yeah. Um, you are as you enter in their kind of blended command red, black, and gold with the Admiralty bars adorning their collars. Two which hold the rank of Vice Admiral, and one which has the full 5 pips of Fleet Admiral. Uh, on In the center sits Fleet Admiral Jellicoe. Definitely already a hardened expression on his face. Clearly is not impressed with this kind of impromptu setup. Uh,
This man is never happy.
to his right is Vice Admiral Catherine Janeway, and to the left is Vice Admiral April Aber.
Hmm. Okay, to my defense, Jocko's never happy.
Yeah. Um. Admiral Aper is the first one to greet you. Welcome, Captain. If you prefer to stand, that's all right, but this may take a while, and I would suggest sitting.
Yeah, I think take a seat, Admiral. Thank you. And I will walk over and I will sit across from the Admirals after saluting all three of them and a show of respect.
Mm. They all do the same.
I know this is an impromptu meeting, but I did have a meeting with the Inheritors, of course, as you saw
The
in my
report.
report. Yeah, and I bring the list of names and their dossiers on data pads for each of you to read, of course.
Mm.
So I will slide the data pads across to all three of them and wait for their reactions when they go through the list of names.
Um. It takes a few minutes as they're definitely going through not only just datapads but checking on their own, like going through files and backgrounds. At the end of it, and when they set it written down, the facial expressions are depressingly absolutely neutral. You can get nothing out of it.
Well, he has a neutral face on him. Even the captain has a neutral face right now because he's taking this very, very seriously right now.
Jellicoe finally does manage to speak up, kind of clasping his hands together and leaning forward slightly. Well then, Captain, you made the motion for a meeting. Well, waiting.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did, Admiral. I made a deal that if they give us his names and, as you read in my report, they don't care what we do with the person who's impersonating the vice president, who's impersonating the vice president. They don't care what we do with her. They don't. To be fair, in their exact words, they don't give two craps what they do with her. They really don't care. So I'm handing her over to you and over to Starfleet and let the best interrogators and intelligence get info out of her. But I did promise the ones that will defect that there's no persecution. It was the only way I can get the list of names.
So let me understand this, Captain. You had a negotiation, a high stakes one, mind you,
Mm-hmm.
apprehended an imposter vice president, had them sealed away in a containment field with, I believe, stuff to counter gamma, is what, omega, is what I'm reading here.
Yes.
And in exchange, certain inheritors want absolute amnesty from the previous actions.
Yes. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it any more than you do, but I'm surprised
Oh,
I was able to
you
get the list of
definitely
names.
don't. In fact, I might like it even less. This isn't a deal that I can't, in good conscience, blindly honor.
To be honest, Emma Jelko, I was not expecting this to be blindly honored in any sort of way. But I did get us a list of names
Yes, you got us a list of names,
who can
which
probably
still
get us
have
a
to be
lot more.
verified.
And after they get verified and they come in, maybe we can get some more names from them, like they're real higher ups.
Well, that certainly is a possibility.
I'm just looking at all possibilities right now, and that's one possibility. We can use them to get more names and get more inheritors off the chessboard. Because believe me, I tried to get some ships back. They was not willing to give them up. They gave us names.
There is a heavy silence, that kind of besets the room, and it's not a like clean silence. It's that very uneasy, low rumble of anger that just permeates throughout the room. Before before Jellicoe speaks again. Captain, do you realize what a difficult position you've put Starfleet in?
And to be fair, I didn't want to put my own self on the line for this because if things went wrong, they had a cloaked ship
Well, it's a little
waiting
late
to
for that.
ambush
You
us.
are on the line right now.
But if you read my report, you know that if negotiations failed, I would not be sitting here right now at all because they had a ship cloaked, ready to fire upon my ship if negotiations went south. I'll put me and my senior staff and whoever on anybody else who's on my ship on the line to make sure negotiations went as well as they did. And there was no other ships that will make it in time to get to us before we took some serious damage in a firefight.
I understand the tactical need and the current present thought that occurred. However, your negotiation lacked a bit of foresight. As I said, I can't in good conscience honor no form of pardon that they're demanding here for any of these members. How do you think the Inheritors will react to that?
It's in all an all war between Inheritors and Starfleet. Casualties on both sides. Innocents or not, I see casualties on both sides. If once the Inheritors find out that I can't hold up to the bargain, they're going to start an Scout war. Horizon Station will be the first one to be in the middle of that war. And who knows? They probably got some out near Bajor near DS9. And if that happens, DS9 can get hit to any space station that Starfleet has people on could be caught in the crossfire between the Inheritors and Starfleet itself. To be honest, Admiral, if this thing don't work out, we need to prepare for war. As much as we're supposed to be explorers, we need to prepare for a war. To be on to be prepared, as it were.
Are you comfortable, Captain, with being the first battlefield? Because that's what's going to happen.
If it happens, am I prepared for it? No. But do I have a choice in it? No. I can't just sit back and say no. I'm not. I just can't sit back and not do anything. If Friday State's going to be caught in the crossfire, I need to have the station prepared just in case.
Vice Admiral Aber is the one who speaks up next. Captain, the Admiral is correct in his concern. Now, I don't exactly agree with the harsh tone that is being used when pressured into a difficult situation, and I'm sure all of us in our younger years have gone through something similar. However, I do believe what he is trying to deliver, and to a point which I can agree and sympathize with. If your station becomes a battlefield, what plan do you have for your civilian populace?
I'm going to have. Here's my plan. If there is a war and Horizon Station is caught in it, I'm making sure that my civilian populace is off the station before the first strike.
Looking at the reports of Horizon Station's recent survey and updates, that's 342,000. And you propose, should you hear of an imminent attack approaching your station, you can get all 342,000 civilians off your station. Given
Not
your
without not
timing
without help.
and seeing how many ships you have access to, whether they're related to Starfleet or allied governments.
To be honest, not without some serious help. Naval ships really maxing out their warp to get there, to get to my station in time, to get the civilians loaded and safely away before the right station is hit. And if it does happen, while the attack's going on, I'm sure that the ships we have can hold them off until we can get them away. And my station can also help out with making sure that all the civilians get off the station safely to where they can be out of harm's way and out of the war as much as we can possibly provide.
Admiral Jellicoe doesn't say anything, but he does stand up and begins pacing, a little lost in thought, a little irritated. Admiral Aber continues speaking. That is certainly a plan with a wide mesh to it. If you dedicate your ships to defense, you cannot dedicate them to evacuation. And even if you were able to dedicate them to evacuation, all the ships provided only account for 53,000.
Well, that is why I'm also asking for you Starfleet Command's help. If things come to worse and we can get a communication out to Starfleet itself, to send what ships they can to help us in the effort to evacuate the civilian population. Like, I know our resources are limited right now, but any help that Starfleet can give our way, if the Riot Station is the first act of war, will be greatly appreciated from the civilian population. Because I'm sure that news has gone around Earth about the Inheritors. And I don't know about you, I want as much trust from the civilians as we can get. I want them to have faith in us again, like they used to.
Admiral Avo leans back in her chair and puts that into thought. The room falling quiet again before Admiral Janeway finally speaks up. I think that's enough for us to swallow for now. You have temporary quarters set up in Starfleet Command, and we'll discuss amongst ourselves and summon you when we feel the need.
Thank you, Admiral. By your leave,
You're relieved for now.
I will stand up, salute the admirals, and turn and walk out of the room and walk to my temporary quarters.
The security guards will escort you to it. It's not a bad temporary room. It's about the equivalent of like a lieutenant's quarters. It's not as large as yours, but it's homey enough.
So, am I able to contact my station while I'm here?
Uh, yes, but you do have to go through a couple security checks.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, Overall, it's more of just brief security checks, authorization codes, things like that. But you are eventually able to get communicate out to the station. Any board particular you want to get to?
Ah, who's covering for me while I'm on Earth? Is it Alaska?
Yeah, Alaska is technically XO of Horizon right now.
Yeah, so I'm contacting my XO.
Alright. Uh, Alaska, are you in your office at the time being, or?
Yes, doing the paperwork necessary to keep a station running.
It is a nightmarish amount. A small like station already has a lot going for it. A large station like Narendra has tons of work all, and Horizon, the fact that it is a populace of hundreds of thousands makes the upkeep ridiculous.
Basically a small city.
Yeah.
Now you see what I go through and why I keep drinking coffee.
And if anyone were to see Alaska, she would seem to be unfazed and just keeps checking off data pad after data pad.
You do have a the computer kind of does turn on. Lieutenant Commander Sky, you have an incoming transmission from Starfleet Command, San Francisco, Earth.
I will activate the built-in view screen to rise up and take the call.
Okay. Captain Phillips appears, and I assume Captain Phillips looks a little worn out.
Yeah, after that meeting and staring down Jellicoe, yeah, he's a little worn out right now.
Ah, Captain, how'd your meeting go with the bureaucracy?
I need a drink when I get back.
I will make sure that they have some chilled Saurian brandy ready for you.
Thank you. Because I stared on not one admiral, but three.
Oh, that
Yeah.
might mean they are, despite the look, they must be very interested if three are in the meeting.
Yeah, it's Janeway, Jellicoe, and Akver. So I'm warned. Jellicoe was just his energy levels alone was just draining the heck out of me.
Too bad I wasn't there. I could have handled Jellicoe myself.
Oh, I wish you was here to help me with this. But someone's got to run the station while I'm gone.
If it helps you at all, you can name drop me, and that might get some reactions from at least 2 of the Admirals.
Yeah, but I did mention the fact that the news Inheritors and their dislike of Starfleet has rattled the civilians. And I figured if things go to worse and there's war involved, that them helping the civilians on the station get back to Earth safely might show a sign of good faith and to show that they're taking this seriously. They all got quiet when I said that.
I have implemented some evacuation drills so that the civilians can be prepared in case the worst should happen.
If I were you, I say stop practicing those drills just in case things do go wrong. Because Jericho's not in good conscience going to go along with the deal. And I can see war on the horizon. And it's not going to be pretty.
Well, he will not be the deciding factor. The other 2 Admirals will have a voice. And I would like to I would like to see him try to outfence Admiral Janeway.
Yeah. So I might have to drop your name if they call me back in. I'll just drop your name and see what kind of reaction I get.
Above board, is Jellicoe in charge of Starfleet intelligence as well?
You know, that is a good question.
No, not technically over its more complicated operations. However, because he does have the rank of Fleet Admiral overall, he definitely still has a hefty involvement, just not like the more intricate inner workings. So as far as like he's aware of each operation that's going on in separate field offices on and off planet, but as to some of the details to each of those field operations, even he's not privy to them because it's literally a security risk if he is.
Captain, if you are to name drop me, use the code name Grandmother. Janeway and Jellicoe will know what that means.
Huh.
Alaska, there is a immediate switch on Horizon Station where everything is at yellow alert.
Jeez.
The shields have gone up. The computer is beginning a countdown. And it pops up seeing your just kind of on a separate screen that comes up. The binary suns in which you are experiencing where Horizon Station is located. There is a not one, but a dual solar flare event that is likely to happen in the next 2 or 3 hours.
Oh dear.
Oh boy. It'd be something nice to study, but I'm stuck here.
Well, I have a CME to keep an eye on so that it doesn't hit the station.
Fair enough.
And I hope you have good luck with the Admiralty, Captain.
I will let you know after the solar flare hits.
And she will send the alert. I imagine our good science officer and communications officer is already on this.
Yeah, any senior staff of any department, any senior staff and department heads are already notified of this, so they can make proper adjustments and such. For a station this large and for the technology that it has, overall, a singular solar flare isn't going to do too much to a station like this. There's been enough technological upgrades to where it's not that big of a deal. The problem comes because it's a dual one, and you're not really sure what that's gonna do. For sure, it can handle one. Two, maybe.
If you don't mind, Captain, I'm going to head to Ops,
Go right on ahead.
and I will head to Alpha Ops.
Alright.
Yeah, so he'll end the call, sip some coffee, and wait for them to call, knowing the fact that he's not going to get any sleep right now.
For the rest of the staff here, before we head into this event here, the life among Horizon Station overall, though a little uneasy with the tensions and knowing that Captain Phillips is going through a trial of sorts, the rest of you have kind of been left to your own devices for a little bit of R&R. With that being said and known, what would each one of you have been doing on either your standard duties or just as a break?
I suppose, especially if the captain had said he was trying to prepare for a potential civilian actuation, Neshek would probably try to keep basically assembling a hot button evac list, a way to monitor everybody nearby, so that way if we need to evac suddenly, we can just push one button and just send out like an alert message, but that type of thing takes time to build and monitor.
Mm-hmm. Alright. As for Apricity, what is their continued hobby, free time, what have you?
I would like to do several things.
Okay.
Some of them more useful than others. Question. Now that we have had a little bit more solid interaction with them, how much can I dig into the Inheritors' medical files?
A fair bit now. Anything you're specifically looking for?
I just kind of want to get a firmer grasp on their numbers, like basically as much. I'm trying to rip as much of their census data out of their network as I can.
Okay.
I'm also delivering. I'm basically also setting up for any potential evac, hospital. It's kind of a big fucking deal if people have to get out of there easily. I don't know how many long-term, like, chronically ill patients we have, but that sort of deal. I am
a couple dozen, but over that, it's actually not a huge number.
I'm also trying to figure out who the hell is going to replace me.
Alright, I'm sure you've brought up some files of potential decent candidates to recommend.
Yeah, both personnel-wise and mechanically speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that's it right now. I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
fuzzy today.
You did moving things, I understand. And then for Lance Corporal West, I'm sure you're doing your standard duties as patrol. What is anything that you are doing in your free time, though, that you've been given some permission to relax a little bit? If you're talking, you might be muted.
Mic check.
Yep, you're good.
There we go. Yeah, something didn't load right. Wes would be in the armory, very much in a encapsulated environment. Test out that collapsible pistol finally.
Okay. There are, the collapsible pistol, as you've discovered, truly has one setting, and that is a lethal type of setting. But it's using tech that is... It's not phaser related, and it's certainly not disruptor related like you thought. This tech is a little bit more in line with the weapons that the Jem'Hadar used.
Polaron.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And it's
Yeah.
a weird type of weapon because you definitely weren't expecting it to have a slight recoil to it. There's about a half-second delay before firing.
Perhaps time to take it apart and see what makes it tick.
Okay.
See if I can't lower that charge time and the kickback at all.
Alright, we can make that a control and engineering roll with a difficulty of 2.
Double threes, which my engineering is 4, which means 4 successes. So that means we have 2 momentum.
Yes, it is. Okay. That being said, yeah, it's not a over... The size of it makes it relatively simple overall, realistically. It's a little foreign tech, but you're able to figure it out. It's kind of similar to almost how a pilot light is set up. The screw, you just have to, like, move it back and forth to increase the output or decrease it. And the kickback you get reduced by about 50%, though it still is having some, but it's not as drastic.
Definitely keeping this on me at all times.
Right.
So that would probably take up about a day, but outside of that, West wouldn't really be doing much else.
Alright. So right around now, doing each of your respective tasks, that the yellow alert comes up, and each of your on-site computers brings up that there is a dual solar flare event in the next few hours. This is more of the station saying, hey, this is going to happen. Now, assuredly, Horizon Station is a large station with an impressive amount of tech, and it's been proven in theorized that it can handle one solar flare. The fact that it's a dual solar flare event is the worrying factor.
I would also point out that for Neshik specifically, any solar flare event is a red alert in her book. So this is a drop everything, and we probably have a procedure for this, but only for one, not for two.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, we can start putting in everything that the single solar flare procedure has. But I'm going to need to consult with science before figuring out what to do next, because they'll have a better idea. I can take care of the sensitive engineering equipment, but I don't necessarily know what all sensitive equipment science has.
Have I been in a solar flare before? Is this something that a person would be excited and or scared about?
You have not been in a solar flare before. And as you are linked to Horizon Station, you really don't know what that'll do.
Neshik is going to get many. Nah, I'd send it to a science person. I wouldn't send it to Neshik. You're a cryptographer, not a computer. Don't.
I do computers, not like computer
I'll
science
CC
and
you
programming.
in on my worried memos. Just like, hey, I'm not about to like go offline or turn evil or anything that like you hear in the old reports, right? I read everything I read everything of Kirk's that was unclassified. I know how it is.
The
I just send Prissy back a gravestone emoji.
You know, that's fair.
I don't actually do that.
Oh my god. For Alaska arriving in ops, even with the standard senior staff kind of going through and being left mostly to their own devices, the solar flare event isn't exactly a huge worry, realistically, but it's still something to at least consider. Arriving at ops, there's quite a few crewmen, a couple petty officers, and a trio of ensigns and a lieutenant junior grade, all of which are acting as kind of off-shift senior operations, as the junior grade lieutenant greets you, a trill man who seems to be maybe 2 or 3 years out of the academy.
What have we got?
Standard alerts, dual solar flare event, so that's different. I'm not entirely sure what the procedure is for that. I know what the procedure is for one, but we haven't exactly encountered a dual event, and the ones we have encountered in Starfleet history are rare, and they generally were ships, and we generally had to salvage them.
How are the multiphasic shield emitters doing?
Standard and normal right now.
I want the techs to make sure that they are fully ready to be brought to full in case that CME hits us.
Yeah. We can make sure that happens.
If both flares were to hit us, how much of these shields would block out most of it?
Are we talking in theoretics, or do you want my best estimate, Commander?
Best estimate.
Well, our shields can handle one singular solar flare at 100%. A shield should be... They'll take a beating, obviously, but they should be able to handle it. If the shields hold on the second hit, we should still have anywhere from 9 to 13% of the shields left.
Alaska's eyes narrow at that. Are any of our science vessels nearby? Or docked, for that matter?
Well, our Intrepid is out in Seoul, so that makes things difficult. But we have a couple of Nova-class vessels.
Have them go investigate the solar flares, just to make sure that they are not being artificially generated.
Is that a concern?
If you were going to attack a large station such as ours, how would you want to handle the station's shields?
Probably a solar event, something natural that does... I see what's happening.
Indeed. Have the two Novas go investigate.
Yeah, I can inform the captains and let them know.
And have them be at yellow alert just in case, because our enemies do have cloaked ships at their disposal. In point of fact, ask our Romulan friends if they would be willing to send a cloaked ship to be an escort.
Okay. Yeah.
It wouldn't need to be a Deradex. A Valador would probably be just as fun.
I know the ship should be fine, it's just... Last time I had a talk with them, we...
Didn't hit it off on the right foot?
No. The sub-lieutenant and I did not.
Then perhaps it would be best if I talked to the sub-lieutenant.
Yeah, I think it's best. She's more like you.
I raise an eyebrow at that, but I will proceed to contact the Romulan embassy to speak to my counterpart among the Romulans.
The Romulan that goes that answers on the screen, definitely more civilian wear that is kind of a... Looks like it's taken some inspiration a little bit from Earth, but also very much undoubtedly Romulan. Just longer hair, a slightly somewhat serious face, but doesn't seem completely unfriendly as she turns and... Commander, this is certainly a surprise.
Yes, I would like to speak to my counterpart in the Romulan Republic military for a, let's say, a favor.
That would be me.
Undoubtedly, you have learned of the double solar flare that we have detected.
We're aware of it.
I am sending 2 Nova classes to investigate the solar flare to make sure it is completely natural and not artificially generated.
And that is something I had not considered.
Because if you are going to attack a large station such as ours, how would you deal with the shields?
If it was a large-scale attack, a solar flare would be the way to do it. However, given the station's secondary power source, shields would go up relatively quickly after that. In 5 or 6 minutes. That's not enough to do very much. Unless...
Go ahead.
Unless a more powerful and artificially made electromagnetic event were to follow.
Indeed, and that is why I'm sending 2 Nova classes. But I would like to request a cloaked Romulan escort because our enemies have cloaked ships at their disposal.
I can make that happen.
Thank you for your assistance, Sub-Lieutenant.
I do have
Jolan,
a request on that behalf, though.
let's
If it
hear it.
comes into a question of tactics, I would like my ship, and by extension, in this short stint in op, that my ship take lead in tactical commands of this small fleet.
That is reasonable, considering that the Novas are more science vessels. They do have firepower, but I don't think they would last for
I've
long.
observed your Nova-class ships. They're impressive in their own right, but brittle in many others.
Indeed, so I have no trouble with your ship taking point on this.
Well then, have a good night.
Jolan True, Sub-Lieutenant.
She nods and the screen goes off.
And Alaska will go about informing the captains of the 2 Nova classes of their new mission.
Okay. Even though tensions between Federation and Romulan are a little less, there's a little hesitance on that. Not any form of resistance, it's just caution. But they do succumb and just listen to it. It's something where they just kind of have to swallow their pride and deal with it. But, to the mainstay of, the parts of this episode, back on Earth. Captain Phillips, you have lost track of time at this, despite there being a timepiece within these temporary quarters. It still feels like time is moving at incredible speeds and also at a snail pace. Looking over and trying to keep yourself somewhat entertained throughout all of this. It's been roughly 3 or 4 hours since you've had your first meeting before you've gotten another summons to the same place.
I rub my eyes because I didn't go to sleep. I've been up drinking coffee.
Mm-hmm.
There was no point in me going to sleep. I know they're going to call me at any time. There was no point. So I finished my cup, which was my 3rd cup of coffee. And I go see what the Admirals request of me.
Yeah. As before, the security escort can't come in, but the Admirals are there. They gesture to the seat across from you once again.
Admirals. I salute and then have a seat.
Jellicoe and Janeway remain silent for the first little bit here, but Ava does speak up once again. We had a lengthy conversation with each other and various other admirals in the quadrant about possible war if that were to break out. Ideally, we wish that not to be the case. However, given everything that's happened, it is not unreasonable to believe that it is likely. Make no mistake, I have differences with my peers where Admiral Jellicoe might have concerns about how this might look as a whole on Starfleet. I am vastly more interested in the civilians on your station should a fight come to head. With that in mind, we are able, from each station in the Alpha Quadrant, we are able to spare a few ships that direction, either to act as a blockade and evacuation fleet, or support should something occur.
Admiral, may I be frank with you three for a minute?
Jellicoe
I
kind
just
of looks a little bit, but Janeway just kind of shrugs like, this will be good.
I just contacted my station. Apparently, the binary stars near my station are having a solar flare, a double solar flare. And you know how solar flare affects shielding
We
and
can counter them.
sensors. Just imagine what would happen if the Inheritors decided this is a perfect time to strike and use the double solar flares as a cover.
Jellicoe finally speaks up again. Captain, I'm a little confused as to what your purpose is here at Starfleet Command, given the initial premise of the meeting. Are you more prepped for war or against it? Because either way, it seems like you're headed in that direction.
No, it's what I was thinking of after I talked to my XO. As you know, is someone who has ties in intelligence named Grandmother.
I'm aware of the name.
Yeah, I was talking with them, and they mentioned that there's a double solar flare event. And how things are going right now, the Inheritors could use this opportunity to attack my station with the shielding down after getting hit with the solar flares.
From what you told me, and your report seems to state that you at least agreed to a temporary ceasefire.
Right. But there might be some people who disagree with that ceasefire and might take it upon themselves to prove that they are superior and attack the station to prove a point.
Well then, Captain, you have no problem with me throwing out these requests for pardons, even if they were to show up willingly.
To be fair, Admiral Jellicoe, I say you hold on to it. We can use that as leverage. Because, like I stated in the earlier meeting, we can use their names to get more names and seriously cripple the Inheritors network. Recripple them, we might have a chance to succeed, peaceful or otherwise, and get back to what Starfield was meant to do, which was explore.
Well, that may be the case in your desire for the future, Captain. It is not currently our present. We will discuss what to do with our current problem. Now, you decided on a temporary ceasefire. That ceasefire was able to garner us a list of names. Names that would come freely and demanded to be pardoned from their inheritor actions. I myself do not agree with that assessment. To agree blindly to just pardoning those who show up willingly suddenly with a change of heart is an absolute, to be frank, a slap in the face to Horizon Station and Starfleet and the United Federation of Planets as a whole.
To be frank, Admiral Jellicoe, I'm worried about my station and Starfleet as a whole just as much as you are. That's why I brought those names. And I was already granted a fleet of some ships who are willing to help. So why would I want to take that away and ruin that just in case things do go wrong? As you said, you was not going to willingly take those names. Basically, you taking those names under protest. But I'm going to do something that will probably get me in a lot more trouble.
Oh,
But
please, you're only on a razor's edge.
well, this might take me off the razor's edge. How would you feel if I gave a name who created a singularity bomb with the Tholian?
I'm waiting, Captain.
GM, what was the Admiral's name? Like the Admiral's name who created the singularity bomb?
Vice Admiral Christine Vale.
Vice Admiral Christine Vale decided she wanted to create a singularity bomb with the Tholians to strike at the Inheritors.
Preemptively.
Yes.
With a subspace weapon.
Yes. And the bomb is currently on my station. So I have proof of said weapon. Which might trigger because of sulfur and the shields might go down. So what would you rather do? Have me do? Sit there and let my station get blown up from the singularity bomb? Or turn it over to Starfleet and the person who helped created said bomb in exchange for the names being taken seriously and my concerns being taken seriously.
Captain, make no mistake, I am taking these concerns seriously. To suggest otherwise seems like a vast display of arrogance. Wouldn't you agree?
Right now, Admiral, I'm not being arrogant. I'm being concerned for my crew, the civilians on my station, and the fact that I have a bomb that can probably go off at any time on my station should the wrong attack hit.
And you've had this singularity bomb for an extended period of time, I assume.
Since before we even had the negotiations with the Inheritors.
And part of it having it go off is a concern of yours.
Yeah, because it can pretty much destroy my whole station in one go and anything else surrounding it.
There are specialized teams in Starfleet that can dismantle and safely dispose of weapons such as this. Did it not occur to you to contact Starfleet Command and inform them of this sooner?
To be fair, I was in the negotiations. I had no time because the Inheritors contacted us before I even had a chance to make that call about the bomb. And the Vice Admiral was pretty much off station when the call about negotiations were made. And I told my senior staff about this, and they all agree. What she did was pretty much going behind Starfleet's back and pretty much stabbing us in the back.
Oh, believe me, Miss Vale and I will be having a discussion about her future.
And if you want, once I get back to my station, I can safely have the crew disarm said bomb and have it delivered to Starfleet itself. And you can have evidence of said bomb. Can't contact my station now because there's a solar flare event about to happen. But once that event's cleared, I can have it transported to you. Because we are apparently allies with the Tholians, and the fact that one of our own and one of our allies conspired to make a bomb does not sit well with me. And if the civilians found out about it, and the news reports found out about it, that won't print a pretty picture for us any more than Inheritors have. So by your orders, I can go and get the ship and get it, and go and get it back, get the bomb, and I do have I have communicate. I have Vice Admiral Vale's ship communication. I can hand that to you, and you can have her come here. My name doesn't have to be in it.
Captain, I know where Vice Admiral Vale's ship is. It's not hard for me to learn that.
Trying to make it easy for you. And that's what for you have to do to have to track her down, where I can just give you her code and you can have her here.
Chilico looks a little bit annoyed by the slight retorts that seem to happen, but Janeway is able to cut him off. Before we get a little too emotional in our conversation, remember, we are members of Starfleet and we will be conducting ourselves in a professional manner. That goes for the 2 and 3 of us, as well as you, Captain Phillips. However, I understand the Fleet Admiral's concern. That being said, you delivering the weapon personally, for me, is out of the question. Rather, what I will mention instead is when you head back to Horizon Station, I will be sending a specialized team to deal with said anomalous weapons and events. As much as I would and do appreciate the good faith gesture of you getting it yourself, I would much prefer to have a team of experts deal with it.
Of course, I have no Janeway. I wasn't saying that I was personally going to bring it. I was going to lead the specialized team to where the bomb is located and let them disarm it, and they can take it. My place is on my station with my crew, planning for whatever happens next in the future or the present.
Admiral Aber, I believe you had something to say? Well, Aber kind of has been leaning back, almost slightly relaxed, deep in thought while this conversation has been happening, but the moment her name's mentioned, she's back in the room, in the space, in her mind. Captain Phillips, as I've declared, I am more than happy to have Starfleet lend assistance and aid where it can, whether those ships be of Starfleet or civilian make. I'm sure we can get some aid out there.
I appreciate it, Admiral, and I did talk to my XO, and they were going to plan evacuation drills for just in case. Which, to be fair, is prudent, given the circumstances.
I understand, and that is a wise decision. However, the one thing I want you to consider, Captain, how comfortable are you writing letters?
If things do get worse off and I do gotta write letters, then I'm willing to sit there and write the letters. Will I be comfortable doing it? No, but I've already done it. I've done it once before when Inheritors first struck, and I wrote letters to the parents of the cadets that we lost during the phage. I steeled myself in my heart long enough to write those letters. After that, on cable between the four of us, I showed emotion. I cried after I was done writing that last letter and I sent it off. Like, I already felt bad enough that the cadets are under my responsibility, and I lost those cadets. The least I could do was send the parents condolences and apologies. So if I had to write more letters in the course of this, then that's what I'll have to do.
She ponders that for a little bit before responding. Alright. But make no mistake, Captain, and I truly loathe myself for bringing this into numbers and statistics. But if an all-out battle occurs at Horizon Station, the letters of those cadets are going to feel small in comparison. Now, that being said, I don't disagree or even disrespect your ability to do and perform such acts. All I am asking as an admiral, or rather, all I'm asking as a Starfleet officer, one to another, is that if that occurs, you truly should brace yourself. That is an event that none of us, everyone in this room, each time it happens, neither of us is prepared for. Now, I do want this to be made clear once again. Each of us has differing opinions, and I apologize for the harsh what must have felt like to you an interrogation. but understand that this was done out of necessity.
To be fair, that's understandable. I'm not mad or angry about this. This meeting, this impromptu meeting, was done out of necessity. So I have no reason to be mad or frustrated or angry. I'm just happy that we can sit down and talk and formulate some sort of reply or answer to the deal or anything else that comes up.
After a little bit, Admiral Janeway seems to get something on a small datapad and frowns a little bit. My apologies. Couldn't help myself. Brought work with me. Jellicoe looks a tiny bit annoyed by that, but doesn't say anything, and truly accepts that saying anything would be absolutely futile. But he stands up and looks at you, Captain Phillips. Captain, I didn't mean what I said. All of these things I have to consider viciously and aggressively, and I truly do believe that whether your spirit was in the right place or not, I do believe things were made slightly out of haste and could present problems for Starfleet in the future. And I won't back down on my resolve or my rulings. However, kind of walks around the table to you. I can at least respect your youthful, stubborn, and irritating resolve. He does extend his hand a little bit.
And he would stand up and shake Jellicoe's hand before saying, before we continue, Vice Admiral Vale did promote me and my XO. I was promoted to fleet captain, and my XO was now promoted to full commander. I just want to know that that's still viable, or has that been revoked? Given the circumstances between her and the Tholians.
Jellicoe lets his hand fall and begins leaving the room, slightly shaking his head, and Admiral Aber and Admiral Janeway cannot help but fail to stifle a laugh before looking over to you. We're sending a fleet your way. Really wouldn't make any sense to take anything from you now.
I'm just asking, because given the circumstances, I just want to make sure that
It's entirely understandable. I get it. But I do think, and they hand two small wooden-looking cases. I'm sure you can do a ceremony on the station, but this is for more official. I'm sure you could replicate some, but these are made right here.
he will walk over and he would open the wooden cases, and take a look at them.
One is marked for Alaska Notice Sky, and one is marked for Jackson Phillips. They are 2 gold pips.
Well, so I would close them because I'd rather do the ceremony on station.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, and I would say thank you, Admirals. But in this case, shall I go back to my? Shall I get ready to depart back to Horizon Station? Post haste, even.
It's gonna take you a little bit to get back to Horizon Station. However, if you don't mind surrendering the Intrepid class to Earth for a little while, we could get you there faster.
To be fair, I wouldn't mind having the Intrepid class stay behind and have the crew get some much needed R&R because I believe they need it.
Oh, they definitely do. Trust me, spending years in Intrepid, it does things.
I have read the reports, Admiral Janeway.
Well then,
But I appreciate everything you 3 admirals have done, and I will be on my way.
as you depart, your datapad sends you a notification. You can't leave right away, but you can leave within the next 6 hours. There is a ship that has become something of a legend in its time. It's definitely... She's a lot older now. First of her kind, and the one that can escort you to your home. Gone through a couple of refits, but you're aware of what a Ross class vessel looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The notification shows that the Commodore has in fact received notification that they'll be taking a passenger.
Are communication still down with Horizon Station?
Technically, yes.
So I can't tell them that I'm on my way back to the station.
Not technically, no.
Oh well, so I'll just head to the ship and I board it and off we go.
Yep. Back on Horizon Station, it's been a couple of hours now, and the Nova class vessels and the Valdor class would have done their sweeps and checking. Checking the binary stars. This is just a natural event.
When Alaska receives that data, she breathes a little bit of a sigh of relief. But are those 2 CMEs still going to hit the station, or are they not in
They
the
will
strip?
hit the station, for sure, because it's directly in the path. However, I will remind you, Horizon Station has a particular feature. It can move if it needs to.
Oh, so they've fixed the drive since the last time we've gone to
Yeah,
warp?
the drive's been fixed. The only mainstay that's different about the fix of this warp is it can no longer hit its high risk capacity of 1.7. It is only capable now of 1.2.
Mm. She will send an. How long until the CME hits?
Given now, Commander? 58 minutes, 23 seconds.
Begin a countdown, and 10 minutes until it hits, we will move the station out of the way. And I would like that countdown on all public screens that is not in the way.
Absolutely. 10 minutes before strike?
Yes.
That's still pushing it a little bit, Commander. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Then let's do 30 minutes before the hit.
30 minutes is perfect. It'll take about 9 minutes or so for the entire system to get set. A ring core is a bit more complicated than a standard warp core.
Indeed it is. And I would like all stations on high alert, just in case.
Should I send out a rendezvous point for all ships that aren't
Indeed.
docked or moored?
Indeed.
How far are we going? Just half a light year, I assume? Somewhere around there?
Yes, we'll go a half light year, and then when the CME passes, we will return to our previous coordinates.
The engineers aren't gonna like that, but they can deal with it.
It keeps them in work.
Yeah, yeah, they're not gonna like that. The timer goes for a decent bit. After it hits the 30-minute mark, every type of system, there's alerts being thrown up on computers and the like. While that's happening, Neshik, what are you doing?
Honestly, just spending as much time as I can ensuring that our critical systems are still shielded properly, that any damage that has been caused over these repeat attacks, notionally it should have been repaired at time, because again, critical systems. But in the event it isn't, rerouting to make sure that data and command and control can still be maintained after any potential power or signal loss. Additionally, I imagine I'm being paged by the science team as to the status of their data backups.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, I need to... I know, like, basically not quite what I was doing before, but it's kind of a soft test of this evac system where I am paging everyone on this list, be like, hey, we're about to have a double solar flare in case we go dark. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the... if you're familiar with air traffic control, if there's ever something that happens at the control tower, like, they have to let everybody know, so that way they know, like, don't call ground control, call this other airport.
Mm-hmm. Given the program that you've made for this, it doesn't reach the entire station, but it reaches about 91% of the station.
Okay.
It's not perfect, but 91% is not bad. At the mark just before, a few minutes before the solar flare event begins to happen, the station jumps to warp. It takes a little while for it to get to its location, a few minutes, before dropping out. Dropping out of warp. There is something wrong. And you felt it ever so briefly. You thought maybe it was the engine starting up wrong or something like that, just initially. And as you dropped out of warp, there was a slight almost a nauseating feeling for a brief moment.
Did anyone else feel that?
One of the ensigns is literally just heaving into a bucket right now. I believe that's a yes, Commander.
Check our positions.
They bring up the hollow display for Horizon Station and star maps and relative locations based upon constellation, planetary bodies, and stars. Commander,
Yes.
are you seeing this? And looking at what you're seeing, there is you've read of similar events, but Horizon Station's short and long-range scanners detect no planetary bodies, no constellations, no stars, no gravitational events, no nebulas, nothing. It is on screen, it is a total black nothingness.
I hate to say this, but can someone check the...
Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it.
Can someone check the quantum signature of the space around us?
What are we looking for, Commander?
I am spitballing here, but I think we might be in another dimension.
Oh, yeah, casually.
But if we are in another dimension, then we can easily tell by a scan of the quantum signature, because a different universe would have a different one than our own.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. Quantum signature's the same, Commander.
All senior officers to the bridge. And I add an addendum. That includes you, Lance Corporal West.
But it doesn't!
Wait, what?
Yeah, I'll go up
Westwood.
and meet Alaska.
West will tap his comm badge affirmative and then make his way over.
Okay. Getting up to the bridge or ops, you can see on the display Horizon Station, but there's nothing to position it relative to anything. It is a black mass.
Can we cross-reference in the Starfleet database? Anything else like this?
Yeah, I'll go through it. There's definitely one that pops up.
The Voyager one?
Mm-hmm. Commander, I genuinely have no idea where we are.
Do we have any long-distance probes?
We should have a complement of them. We haven't moved very much recently because of the whole inheritor problem, but if we have the amount that we are still stocked with, I think we only used a couple, we should have 598 left.
I want to use 20 and have them fired in the cardinal directions to create a sensor grid and see if we can't get a more detailed analysis of the void we're in.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you can finish what you were saying.
Nope, you can go.
Just like, so they were able to use the radiation to determine that we were in our universe.
Yep.
Could we use the radiation to determine if this is basically like, pardon the phrasing, but some sort of illusion? Like, are we able to read if there's like a star within a certain distance that we would realistically be able to see or anything like that? Is that making sense?
Kind of.
Like, space is empty, but it's not like empty, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I mean, okay.
Space
It's
has
hard to
wide open
describe.
space. Yeah, doing scans of things like that around.
The torpedoes could actually help with that. Sorry, it is also sort of related to what Alaska was saying.
Mm-hmm. Doing that and sending out the probes in the 20 in kind of a circumferential pattern. There is using. How far out do you want to send them? A couple kilometers?
At least 1 light year.
At least 1 light year, okay. Sending them all out in 1 light year, there is.
And they're constantly scanning as they're going into their positions.
It comes back after an agonizing period of time of waiting. It's able to form a shape for Horizon Station for you to see what you're in.
Mm-hmm.
It is impossibly large, and it's a perfect sphere.
Almost like a warp bubble.
No, it's physical.
Hmm. Fire one quantum torpedo. Let's see how far it goes.
If I may,
Go ahead, Lance Corporal.
instead of losing valuable armaments, perhaps a probe would suffice.
We already have 20 out.
I've only just arrived. I did not know. Pardon.
We have a brief little bit to go. I'm so sorry. I have to take something. 1 second.
I'm the DM now.
I imagine if Zaz was a DM, we would all have to worship the Raven Queen.
Only in D&D. I can restrain myself for... I do wish the Star Trek explored religion more. They do in some episodes, but it's very episode constrained.
Well, not if you go to...
And it's usually through metaphor.
Well, not in Deep Space Nine.
Not in Deep Space Nine. Place your bets. My bets are, like I said, it's all an illusion.
I'm guessing
Dice. I was thinking Dyson Sphere.
Ooh, Dyson Sphere is a good one.
I was thinking we got caught in the trap by the Omega Continuum.
Could be that too.
And now I'm just jumping at technological shadows because of what I am in this particular game, but I swear to God, if Borg are involved in this...
We always knew there was going to be evil Pricity, though.
This is 2 campaigns now where Joe has dangled the opportunity for evil AU version of my character and then just snatched it away from me. We never even got to see evil Nassar.
Can you imagine?
One guy?
I mean, yes, but that was me shooting that one guy, not evil AU like Mirror versus Nassar. They were only ever off screen.
That
was me impersonating them.
It's true. You impersonated your evil twin.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine what an evil Alaska would be like?
Are we sure that you're not the evil twin? Weren't you Roman?
Yes, she's Roman.
Somewhere out there's a universe that has world peace, no war anymore, no hunger. 'Cause that's where the good Alaska twin is.
Given where you're currently working, I figured you were stationary.
No, that's Apricity is one of the characters who actually I would worry about seeing evil, given that they are the Doctor.
When has an evil doctor ever turned out poorly?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Just an evil doctor with a little bit of Hal thrown in there for flavor.
Okay, I was muted.
Hell or Hal?
Hal. 9,000.
Oh, Hal. I was really
of
confused
your profile picture fame.
I was really confused how the wizard was gonna come into this the angle. I was intrigued, but just confused.
Alright, anyways, I am
Hold on. I need to rewrite some things. Welcome back.
But yes, as saying, launching probes and potentially a torpedo.
Yes.
Okay. Just blindly firing it in any particular direction.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Can quantum torpedoes be modified?
Photon torpedoes, yes. Quantum torpedoes, technically, but at extreme risk.
I was going to suggest that we try and modify a quantum torpedo to if it encounters something from Omega, to cancel out the Omega thing, but I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, no, that definitely.
But she will order the torpedo to be fired directly in front of the station and see if it hits like anything solid or if it just passes through and disappears.
Alright, as you fire the torpedo and watch its, like, light begin to grow distant and fade, there is an impact, and you can see a slight, glimmer on the holo display. This large spherical dark voided space. It's solid, sort of.
Full sensor sweep.
Okay,
I imagine this would be something for Neshik.
yeah, going through Neshik. Actually, you know what? We're gonna make this a roll here.
Ooh.
We're gonna make this either, depending on what you are looking for specifically here, this can either be an insight engineering or an insight science check at a difficulty of 3.
We have
What
2 momentum.
What would exactly be the difference between science and engineering? Would engineering be looking for structures in ships, whereas science would be looking more for odd astronomical phenomena?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't suppose I could hop on whatever Neshik doesn't.
Oh, you could do that. That's fine.
So yeah, if we each take one, I'll take engineering. You take science.
They will both be
Okay.
at a difficulty of 3, though.
So insight engineering. Da-da-da-da-da.
Would my talent advisor help here?
Yeah.
I don't really have anything going for me here, other
And
than my
what would
positronic brain.
And what would advisor do to help? Remind me again.
I have to look. I forget. Hold on.
Oh, wait, I'm using the ship sensors. So give me a second. Bring that sheet up.
God, I don't even know where I have that.
Our sensors is 12.
12? Thank you. And I forget, for ships, do you just roll 1 or do you still get to roll 2?
Ships is
1.
a 1d20.
Give me a second.
So
I just
our-
look really quick. Okay.
So we would be rolling 1d20 for the ship sensors plus which department would this be?
What's the discipline? Because I may have crit. I rolled a 4.
Give me one moment here. I was just reading what advisor did really quick. Advisor will let you, whoever you decide to advise, can let them re-roll one, 1d20.
I would choose Neshik for that reroll.
The discipline here is
If there is one for ships.
it's department technically, but the department here overall would be science.
I rolled a 4. Is that a crit or no?
No, that is.
Sick! Then I got 2 successes.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Sensors engineering then.
And we have 2 momentum, and you have 1 reroll. Neshik.
The reroll from you. I also have a reroll from technical expertise. Does constantly watching difficulty -1 to detect danger or hidden enemy apply here?
Not in this case, no.
Gotcha. Since this is something out of the ordinary, pattern recognition wouldn't help me here either. Since we have that network of probes, can I apply my computer telecom network focus?
Yes.
We'll see if that comes up.
Did we use the momentum? I had to plug in my headphones and miss that.
We did not use the momentum. Do we want to use the
Okay,
momentum here? 'Cause
we
my
do have
chances-
2 things of momentum to use.
I will spend 1 to get an extra d20 then, if that's okay.
Yep.
Because my chance with using engineering is significantly lower than Apricity's with science.
I don't remember if this bot works anymore.
Well, we'll find out.
Nope.
Nope, I've killed it. I've killed it. I'm so sorry, everyone. I couldn't take it anymore.
It's yeah, aren't you the only one that uses it?
Alright, I have a 12 and a 7 for the first these two d20s. I guess I'll re-roll the 12 for free. That's a 20. We're not gonna use that one. And then advisor. That's an 18. So 12 and a 7.
Did you? It looks like it's using slashes now for the dice parser instead of exclamation points. Looking at the playing thing where it says /r/support/help.
Wrong.
Your other slash.
Or do I have to add stuff to it?
I think you have to do
Okay.
/R. Try /R maybe?
Yep.
Didn't I try that last time we were having these
remember.
issues?
I have the fuck off.
Your
I'm
other
sorry,
slash.
okay?
Your other slash.
I've been writing law tech a lot.
Okay, that didn't do anything. Got it. Whatever. I'll figure it out in a little bit. But it what
I think the music bot is overwriting the dice parser's commands because they're both using slashes. Because every time I bring up the slashes, it just brings up the Fred boat stuff.
Yeah, I think that's true also.
Try it again.
Oh, also, it says we don't have permission to use any commands from dice parser.
What?
Dun dun dun.
Huh? You
Hold on, give me
definitely
2
should.
seconds.
Just 2? Are you sure?
Just 2.
I'm so confused. Why is that being like that?
Huh. Bizarre.
I'm sorry, that was a big derailment.
You know what? I'm not gonna worry about that right now. Hold on, let me try this here. Okay, just try it one more time just to see. but
It still says I don't have permission.
really? Data access.
Let's do. Oh, sick.
My god, okay. It might have turned it off, who knows. Whatever. I'll think of it later. Anyways, sending it out and the impact and scanning. What you are able to get out of this is indeed a structure. It's nothing like you've seen before or can really understand. Much like a dice bot problem here, but whatever. There's no other way to really say this, for you, Neshik. This is either a ship or something similar, and you are inside of it.
Commander, we appear to have warped inside of some type of megastructure, given the not insignificant size of Horizon Station.
A Dyson sphere?
Something of that scale, yes. Although, if we were inside a Dyson sphere, I am curious to wonder where the star is.
Try hailing all friendship messages and languages and use the probes to amplify the communications if you can.
Understood, Commander. I guess I will. The Federation almost certainly has some type of, Voyager disk equivalent signal that we can push out.
As that happens, there's a bit of delay, a bit of silence before there is a dark red flash that kind of appears briefly in the op station, and turning your head to see where it occurs, there's someone that appears human for the most part, dressed in similar to all of you, but picking more neutral colors, blacks and grays and whites, to kind of resemble the uniform, and the comm badge mockery is more faded out.
And what happens to the monitors in ops?
The monitors in ops, they actually kind of just go dead, as if you're in a spot where everything just kind of seemingly stops working. A temporary dead zone.
I will straighten my uniform shirt, Picard style, and approach the individual. I assume I'm speaking to a member of the Omega Continuum.
Spot on. So, you already had a talk within your little space. Now you're in ours. So, shall we negotiate a ceasefire? and we will figure out where that goes next time.